All right, we are not here today to talk about 5 steps to a better life. We are not here to talk about hacking your success. We are here to talk about the opposite. We are here to talk about the 5 steps. Moment when success becomes a sick joke. We are here to talk about the life you built and the sound it made when it collapsed. We are here to talk about the moment after. The after the divorce papers were signed. The after the diagnosis was given. The after the job you gave your life to was gone. The after the faith you were raised in suddenly looked like a lie. We are here to talk about everything falling apart. In our last conversation, we talked about the emptiness you feel when your perfect life is a success. That is a hollow, aching, "Is this all there is?" kind of pain. But this is different. This is the pain of ruin. This is the perfect life being ripped away from you, not by choice, but by force. This is the emptiness of the void, the terror of the freefall, the absolute crushing disorientation of waking up one morning and realizing the person you thought you were no longer exists. You are no longer the wife of. You are no longer the director at. You are no longer the healthy one. You are no longer the good, faithful son. And the most terrifying question in the universe lands on your chest. If I am not that, then who am I? You feel like you are dead. You feel like your life is over. You are walking around, a ghost in the ruins of your own past. And the world, in its cruel, well-meaning way, keeps spinning. People say, you just have to move on. Get back out there. It'll get better. But you can't move on, because you don't even know who you is anymore. I want to talk to you, right now, in that dark place. And I want to tell you something that comes from the deepest, wisest parts of our human story, from the great work of the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. What you are experiencing is not the end of your life. It is the beginning of your real one. This is not a failure. This is not a punishment. This is not you being broken. This is a process. It is a brutal, terrifying, and sacred alchemical process. It is the nigredo, the great blackening. It is the necessary, agonizing, and unavoidable first stage of all true creation. You are not dying. You are being unmade, so you can be remade. Today, we are not going to talk about getting back to normal. Normal is what broke. Normal was the lie. We are going to talk about Jung's map for going forward. How to endure the darkness, how to find the gold in the ruins, and how to begin again. Not as the person you were, but as the person you were always meant to be. This is the hardest journey, but it is the only one that leads to a life that is truly, authentically yours. To understand how to begin again, we first have to understand, in no uncertain terms, what has fallen apart. In our last talks, we've used Jung's word, the persona, the mask, the perfect you, the successful you, the acceptable you, the character you learn to play to be loved, to be validated, and to be successful. We've talked about how this persona becomes a gilded cage, how we can feel empty inside of it. But what we are talking about today is so much more violent. This is not a cage you can choose to leave. This is a building that has collapsed on top of you. Your persona, your identity, was not just a mask. It was your armor. It was your home. It was the entire structure of your reality. And a bomb went off. Let's be very clear about what this feels like. Imagine you are the successful executive. Your entire identity, your ego is built on this persona. I am smart. I am a leader. I am a provider. I am the director. Your 60-hour work weeks, your corner office, your salary. This is not just what you do, it is who you are. And then, the restructuring. The email. Your position has been eliminated. In one sterile corporate moment, your persona is annihilated. When you wake up the next day, who are you? You are not the director. You are not the provider. One, you are nothing. You are just a person in a bathrobe on a Tuesday morning, staring at a wall. The building is gone. Imagine you are the perfect wife and mother. For 25 years, your persona has been the good wife, the selfless mom. Your identity is woven into your partner's life, your children's needs, the school bake sales, the family holidays. You are the feeder, the nurturer, the center of the family, and then the divorce, or the empty nest. The kids leave. Your partner says, "I'm not in love with you anymore." The persona is shattered. If you are not mom, if you are not wife, who are you? You look in the mirror, and the person looking back is a total stranger. You have no idea what she even likes to eat, let alone what she wants from life. Imagine you are the good believer. Your persona is the devout son, the good Christian, Muslim, Jew, etc. Your entire life structure, your morality, your community, your sense of the future, your meaning is built on this framework. And then something happens. A tragedy. A deep, unanswerable question. A hypocrisy in your community that you can no longer ignore. And a crack appears. The framework breaks. The story stops making sense. The God you prayed to is silent. The persona of the believer is dead. And you are terrified. Because if that isn't true, what is? You are untethered, floating in a moral and spiritual void. This is the state of collapse. It is the death of the ego. The I you thought you were is dead. And this is the first, most painful, and most important truth from Jung. You cannot get back to normal. Normal was the mask. Normal was the lie. You cannot rebuild the same house. The foundation was faulty. The blueprints were wrong. They were not yours. They were given to you by your parents, your culture, your religion, your boss. The entire universe has just done you a brutal, terrifying favor. It has stopped you from living an inauthentic life. Your life is not over. But the performance is... the actor is dead. And for the first time, the real you, the one who was under the mask, the one who was in the building, is forced to crawl out of the rubble, blinking in a strange, new, and terrifying light. So, who are you in the rubble? You are not the director. You are not the wife. You are not the believer. You are nothing. This is the feeling, the nothingness. It's not just sadness. It's disorientation, it's chaos, it's confusion, it's a thick, black, formless void. You try to make a decision, but you have no compass. Should I go left or right? The director persona knew. You don't. You try to feel, but all you feel is everything and nothing at once. You are in a fog. You are in the dark. You feel depressed, but the word feels too small. You feel dissolved. This is the state that Jung, borrowing from the ancient alchemists, called the nigredo. The alchemists of old were not just trying to turn literal lead into literal gold. Jung saw their work as a brilliant metaphor for the process of psychological transformation. And the Negredo was step one. It was the blackening. It was the dark night of the soul, to make the philosopher's stone, the whole integrated self. The alchemists believed you first had to take all your ingredients, all your identities, your beliefs, your successes, and put them in a sealed vessel, and burn them to ash. You had to decompose them, to putrefy them, to dissolve them back into their original, raw, chaotic, undifferentiated first matter, the prima materia. This is what has happened to you. Your life has not just fallen apart. It is being alchemically dissolved. You are in the dark, sealed vessel right now, and you feel like you are dying because you are. A part of you is dying, the false part, the persona, the ego that you thought was you, and in this Negredo, your only job is to endure. This is the part that our modern five-step culture hates. We are told to fix it, to rebuild, to think positive, to get back on the horse. Jung would say this is the worst possible advice. Trying to fix it immediately is like a caterpillar halfway through dissolving into goo in the chrysalis, suddenly deciding, you know what? This is gross. I'm going back to being a caterpillar. It can't, and it shouldn't. You cannot think positive your way out of the Negredo. You cannot manifest your way out of it. The only way out is through. This blackening is not a problem to be solved. It is a stage to be inhabited. So if you are here, if you are in that dark, formless void, you are not failing at healing. You are not stuck. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. 2. You are in the chrysalis. You are in the alchemical vessel. You are in process. You feel like you are nothing because you are, for the first time, pure potential. The lead is being broken down. The gold is not yet formed, and this is the sacred, terrifying, and necessary work. The first step of beginning again is to have the courage to not begin, to have the courage to sit in the rubble, to be in the dark, to honor the void. Because something is in the void with you. When you are in the Negredo, you are not alone. When the light of your persona is extinguished, the other parts of you, the parts that were hidden in the dark, finally have permission to come out. When the king, your ego persona, is dead, the entire chaotic, disowned, and repressed kingdom of your unconscious comes out of the shadows. And this means, first and foremost, you are going to meet the shadow. We've talked about the shadow. It's the backpack of all the parts of you that your persona rejected. When you were the successful one, your failure self went into the shadow. When you were the kind one, your rage went into the B shadow. When you were the strong one, your vulnerability went into the shadow. And now the mask is gone. The strong persona is shattered. And what crawls out of the rubble? Your vulnerability. You are not just sad. You are weeping. You are a raw nerve. You feel weak in a way that terrifies you. This is you meeting your shadow. Your successful persona is dead. And what's left? Your failure self. You are consumed by shame. You feel worthless. This is your inner failure, which you've repressed for 30 years. Finally coming to the surface. Your good believer persona is gone. And what's left? Your rage. Your doubt. Your heresy. You feel a fury at God, at your parents, at the lie you were sold. This is your shadow. And your first instinct is to run. To find another mask. any mask to cover this up. I can't be this weak. I can't be this angry. I can't be this failure. And this is the second great test of the Nigredo. You must not run. Jung was clear. You must make the unconscious conscious. 3. You must turn to these figures in the rubble. You must talk to them. This is the gold in the shadow we've talked about. But this is no longer a metaphor. This is survival. Your persona was built of borrowed material, the only real you have. The only authentic building material for a new life is this gold that you've hidden in the dark. That vulnerability that feels like weakness. That is your gold. That is your capacity to connect. That is your humanity. Your strong persona was an island. Your vulnerability is the bridge. That failure that feels like shame, that is your gold. That is your humility. That is your freedom. Your successful persona was a prison. Your failure self is the key that unlocks the door. You are no longer terrified of failing because you have failed. You are free. That rage that feels like sin, that is your gold. That is your power. That is your no. Your good persona was a doormat. Your rage is your boundary. 4. It is the life force, the energy you will use to build your new life. When everything falls apart, you are forced to do shadow work. It is no longer an option. The real you is not a perfect light being. The real you is whole. 5. And whole means it includes both. The light and the dark. Your collapse is the invitation to finally stop the war within yourself and become whole. This is all well and good. Sit in the dark. Talk to your rage. But practically, how do you survive this? It feels like insanity. It feels like dissolution. If the I, the ego, the persona is broken, what is left? What is the anchor? What stops you from just spinning away into the void forever? This is the most beautiful and most profound part of Jung's entire map. He said that the ego, the I, you thought you were, is not the center of your psyche. It's just the center of your send. Conscious mind, the true center, the center of the entire psyche, conscious and unconscious, is a larger, wiser, whole, and eternal organizing principle. He called it the self. The ego is the you that you built. The self is the you that you are. The self is the you were born as before the world told you who to be. It is the imprint of God within you. It is your soul. It is your wholeness. And here is the secret. The self wants to be born. The real you wants to live. In fact, Jung might say that your collapse wasn't an accident. He might say that the self, your soul, conspired with the universe to destroy the false life. It hijacked the restructuring. It hijacked the divorce. It created the crisis so that the false ego persona would have to die. Making room for the self to be born. The collapse is an act of grace from your own soul. It doesn't feel like grace. It feels like hell. But the Nigredo, the hell you are in, is the only gateway to the self. So how do you find this anchor? You don't. You listen for it. The ego shouts. The self whispers. And in the normal, noisy, successful, persona-driven life, you cannot hear it. But now, your life is not noisy. It is silent. It is dark. It is the void. For the first time in your life, it is quiet enough to hear the whisper. The self does not speak in action items or 5-year plans. That is the language of the ego. The self speaks the language of the soul. It speaks in dreams. It speaks in symbols. It speaks in weird impulses. It speaks in synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences. In the middle of your darkest day, a specific, strange bird will land on your window, and for some reason, you can't stop looking at it. That is a whisper. You will have a dream so vivid, so real, that you wake up with your heart pounding. That is a shout. You will feel a sudden, illogical pull to go to the library, call that person you haven't spoken to in 10 years, or buy a $5 sketchbook. This is not madness. This is the real you. Your self, giving you the first breadcrumbs on the path out of the woods. Your job is not to understand the whole map. Your job is only to take the next small step. So, this is it. You are in the Negredo. The persona is dead. The shadow is here. The self is whispering. How do you actually begin again? This is the great work. It is the practical, step-by-step process of rebuilding. But not the old way. A new way. You must stop trying to rebuild the old house. 1. This is the primary temptation. You are in the rubble, and you are frantically trying to glue the broken pieces of your director or wife persona back together. You are trying to get back to normal. You must stop. You must have the courage to let it be dead. You have to grieve. You cannot begin again until you have fully, truly honored the ending. Grieve the you that died. Grieve the life that's gone. Grieve the 20 years you wasted. They weren't wasted. Grief is the water that cleanses the rubble. You cannot build on land that has not been cleared. You must honor the Negredo. Do not rush the void. 2. Your body, your mind, your soul is in a state of profound shock and transformation. You cannot and should not get back on the horse right away. The nothingness of the Negredo is a sacred space. It is the chrysalis. It is the womb of the new you. This means rest, sleep, lie on the floor, stare at the ceiling. This is not laziness. This is alchemical work. You are dissolving. You are reforming. This takes energy. Your to-do list in the Negredo is simple. Breathe. Survive. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to someone who has just emerged from a 10-car pileup. Because you have. You must become a scribe. Dream, work, and journaling. 3. When the ego is shattered, the self speaks loudly. Your dreams right now are not junk. They are the most important messages you will ever receive. They will be terrifying. They will be weird. They will be vivid. Get a journal. Put it by your bed. The second you wake up, write everything down. Don't analyze it. Just collect it. I was in a burning house. I was in a tidal wave. A lion was talking to me. These are symbols from yourself, telling you what is happening. The house is your old psyche, your persona. The fire or water is the chaos of the Negredo. The lion is your instinct, your power, your shadow, trying to talk to you. Your journal is your map room. You must talk to the rubble. Active imagination. 4. This is Jung's most powerful, practical tool. You must talk to the parts of you that are in chaos. You must make the unconscious conscious. In your journal, You will have a conversation. You will write to your fear. Fear, you are so strong today. I feel you in my chest. What are you afraid of? And then you listen. You let your other hand write. You write what feels right. Fear. I'm afraid we're going to be alone forever. I'm afraid we're nothing. I hear you. That is a terrifying thought. But I am here. I am with you. We are not nothing. We are together in this. This sounds insane. I promise you. Finds with finds you. It is the sanest thing you will ever do. You are differentiating yourself, your compassionate ego, from the complex, the fear. You are reparenting yourself. You are integrating. You are healing. Talk to your rage. Talk to your shame. Talk to your grief. Treat them not as enemies to be banished, but as lost, wounded children who have finally come home. 5. You must follow the gold, the unlived life. The collapse very often happens because your persona was a direct betrayal of yourself. You were a born artist who became an accountant, persona. You were a born explorer, self, who became a homebody, persona. Your life fell apart because your soul could not breathe. The collapse is the invitation to finally live your unlived life. That gold you found in the shadow, your creativity, your power, your vulnerability, that is your building material. That illogical impulse you have, I think I want to paint. I want to go to Italy. I want to learn to rock climb. This is not an escape. This is yourself giving you the first blueprints for the new house. And the house is not built on shoulds. It is built on this, on the gold, on the illogical whispers of your soul. You must build the small new thing. 6. You do not rebuild your life. You don't build a new skyscraper. You plant a seed. You begin again by doing the one small new thing. You buy the $5 sketchbook. You write one paragraph. You take a 10-minute walk without a destination. You call that one friend who you know can hold the space for your darkness. This is the albedo. The whitening. It is the first glimmer of new light after the negredo. It's not a boom. It's a dawn. It is the new, authentic, self-directed life. And it is built not of steel and glass, but of your own, reclaimed golden shadow material. It is small, it is humble, and it is real. If you are in that dark place, if your life has fallen apart, I am not going to tell you it will all be okay. I am going to tell you something truer. What you are in is a process. It is an alchemy. You are in the sacred fire of your own unmaking. It is hell, and it is holy. The you that you were is gone, and that is a tragedy. But the you that you are, the real you, is finally being given a chance to be born. The collapse of your life is not the end of your life. It is the end of the performance. It is the end of the lie. It is the brutal, agonizing, and grace-filled end of your first false life. And it is the invitation to your second, real life. The negredo is the price of admission. The shadow is the treasure. The self is the guide. You are not broken. You are breaking open. You are not lost. You are on the only path that leads home. Be kind to yourself. Be patient. This is the hardest work a human can do. You are not alone in this. We are all, in our own way, in the rubble with you. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your courage. If this conversation spoke to you, if you felt seen in this darkness, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel. And now, for our community. This is a brave and sacred space. Go down to the comments, and you don't have to share your story. Just let us know if you feel comfortable. What is the one small new thing that your self is whispering to you? Let's witness each other's first step. Be well, be brave, and I will see you in the next one.